Get the Intel, the podcast meant for those of us trying to find out what the hell is going on in the field. Here, we discuss tools, techniques, and approaches that you can implement to streamline operations and let you focus on your craft.
Okay, this is Chad Gill, and joining me today is Amit Kassar. And he is the founder and CEO of Multifunding and the author of The Growth Dilemma. He has earned a national reputation as a thought leader in business finance and is an in-demand speaker for growth-focused business leaders. He's helped thousands of business owners achieve ambitious growth goals through creative and personalized funding solutions, and has helped create tens of thousands of jobs. I appreciate you coming on and taking the time with us today.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. I was glad to get through the intro. For the first time I read that, I called it amphibious growth. So I'm not sure what happened there. It explained my lack of spelling. That's why I'm in engineering. I like numbers, man. I don't like, I'm not big for the spelling. But so I heard you speak, and you had a pretty interesting kind of start to your first business, and it feels like that kind of led you to this next business, which you're doing now. Is that correct? Or?
Well, I think that the start of my business, where just so I can share the story, is back in 2010, I was the chief innovation officer for the largest issuer of credit cards to small businesses in the United States. And we had 1 million customers and about $1 billion worth of market cap and 1,000 employees, and we completely decimated in the Great Recession. Before it was my turn to be let go, I helped let 960 people go. Roughest professional thing I ever did in my life. And then my turn came on a Friday. I was let go by the bankruptcy trustees. I then went to the bank and deposited a check for my full home equity line of credit, so they couldn't take it away from me because I didn't have a job anymore. And then went home and told my wife what I did, and I started Multifunding on Saturday.
How'd your wife take it?
She shouldn't have been surprised. We'd be talking about it for months. But there was definitely an element of sadness and fear and all that, all those typical emotions. But I was, I got thrown into the fire of entrepreneurship, and I'm glad I did, because life was too comfortable. And I was earning great money, living sort of the high corporate life, and it was too hard to leave. And I really feel that, I'm sad that it happened and sad for all the people that it affected. For me personally, I don't believe you cry over spilled milk, and when things happen, you move on, and I did, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, it sounds like almost like the golden handcuff story.
Correct.
No, that's yeah. I mean, I think that happens to a lot of people. You just kind of dive in. But kudos to you and your wife for hanging in there. It's not an easy thing by any stretch.
Sure.
So Multifunding. What is the background of Multifunding? Like your purpose there?
The core idea is that making financing choices for your business is not easy. And there's a lot of misguided information out there. And a bad financing choice can screw you up bigly. I mean it when I say, if you go to McDonald's for lunch, you could have indigestion for a few hours and then be over it. But if you make a bad financing decision impulsively, you can have indigestion for a few years, or ruin your business or ruin your credit. And so our mission is to set entrepreneurs and business owners on the path that's right for them. And we want them to understand the options and the pros and the cons and the alternatives of the different things that they're trying, that they want to do, and just make sure they're doing it on a sound footing. And so we listen to stories, and then we advise folks about different ways that they can do it and what they can do. And then if they want to help, we package the loans and we take them to a network of lenders we built, and we help them secure the financing. a classic example, Chad, is a phone call I just got off of two women who want to open a new interior design furniture space. And they were approved for an SBA loan for $325,000. But they found a bigger space that they like, and they want to see if they can get $600,000. And my advice to them was, first of all, if it's going to be a penny more than $350,000, the lender's going to take a lien on your house. And they said, we're not comfortable with that. I said, well, then figure out how to do it with 325. Okay. So everything in life there's a trade-off. And then they're thinking, oh, maybe we should go get this loan or that loan or a private loan. I said, you can do it for 325. You can. It might not be everything that you want, but it will get you started. And so we just try to bring, our job is to know the debt markets incredibly well and know all the ups and downs and pros and cons of the different loan products, and to just give entrepreneurs sound advice. They might not listen to us all the time. That's okay, but that's what we do for a living.
What are the things like, you hear about things like Dave Ramsey, or I don't know how many other, things are like, no debt, zero debt, bootstrap, pay everything off, stuff like that. But being an EO definitely changed my approach to that, and the way that the members of EO that I get exposed to and stuff like that. Entrepreneurs Organization, I'm sure people listening to this have heard me mention it before. They just move money in different ways. Is that, I guess I'm tailoring into that, how that works and what you consider, common debt advice you hear that's really not the most business advantageous.
Yeah. So let me first of all be clear. Debt can be evil.
Sure. So you can have a bad marriage too, but it doesn't mean all marriage.
But debt used well is not evil. Debt used well can be an incredible tool and can create leverage and let you grow with a multiplicative effect. And when I hear people say that like the approach is that never use debt and this and that, well, I think 5 of the Fortune 500 companies have no debt, and 495 of them do. And they got there by using it as a strategic tool to help them grow and expand. So I would say, if you're considering debt, first of all, make sure that you're using the right type of instrument, term debt versus line of credit, depending on what you're using it for. And then if you're going to use it, understand what's the worst case that could happen. Let's say you want to invest $100,000 into something, and that monthly payment is going to be $1,100 a month. Well, the worst case that happened is that investment turns out to be a disaster, and some of them will. And you're on the hook for $1,100 a month. Then understand the best case that could happen. That $100,000 investment you think will grow your business 3x. I'm making it up, just a hypothetical.
Sure.
Well, that's the best case then that can happen. And then what's something in the middle look like? And usually something in the middle is pretty good, because that's most likely what's going to happen.
That something in the middle is probably what made you consider doing it anyway.
Correct.
So what are, like, when you talk about evil debt, what is like what is the example? Like, how would you recognize, you're walking down the street, debt's coming towards you, what does evil debt look like? And what does strategic debt look like?
Well, to me, evil debt is debt that sounds too good to be true. If it's money that will be in your bank account in a day or a few days, it's probably evil debt. Okay. Because the reason it's so quick is that it's designed by its nature it's a riskier loan because they're going through a less rigorous underwriting.
Gotcha.
Okay. It's supposed to be work to get a loan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm working with a client right now in a $3.5 million transaction. He has zero collateral. He's buying a business. And he's bitching and screaming and crying and shouting that it's taking too long. Well, what I say back is, If you were lending somebody $3.5 million, what due diligence would you do? What would you dots would you, I's would you dot and T's would you cross?
Yeah.
And so it is supposed to be difficult to get a loan. It's not supposed to be an easy process. And if it's too easy and it's too quick, it's probably evil.
Interesting way to view it. I get what you're saying. It makes total sense.
I just got in an argument this morning with, I won't mention the publication, but a publication that touts itself as being an advocate and all about small business and entrepreneurship. And I found an article in there written by one of their columnists, which is basically a walking advertisement for the quote unquote benefits of emergent cash advance, which is perhaps one of the most evil forms of debt.
Yeah.
And I called them up. I said, have you lost your minds? Like, you can't do this. I mean, you can if you choose to, but just think about what you're doing.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, that's just shy of a payday loan, it seems. But,
it's often worse than a payday.
So when what is great that, like, when you hear somebody say, and they call you and tell you your story, and like, this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing with that. Then, this person clearly has the mind and the position and the thing. What are those? Are there commonalities in there?
Well, it's different scenarios. So say, as an example, you believe if you added 2 people to your team, again, I'm not sure the size of the company is listening to this chat, but if you added 2 people to your team, they could help you substantially grow your business. Well, but you might be afraid to add them because of it's going to take 6 or 12 months for them to start to really pay for themselves. Using some debt to give you some buffer through those 6 to 12 months might be a great thing. If you are looking to add equipment, that might be a great thing. That will substantially move your plan. It can be a great thing to use debt to acquire a business. There's ways to structure this debt, but there are many uses of debt that I consider to be really good and really beneficial.
What about to a person who you say, okay, there's multi-funding, but then, hey, I have this great banker and he and I talk all the time, and basically when I need to get a loan, he's pretty good about it. And I get a bank loan, or when do you decide that you need to go out to a group like yours?
So when you're making a big decision, I say it's always good to get a second opinion or get some different vantage points. So let's just say that hypothetical. If your banker tells you something and you call us, and we feel that banker is essentially telling you exactly what's spot on in market for your situation, we have no reason or incentive to tell you anything different. You should go do that. That sounds like a really good idea. It's also possible that your banker doesn't use certain loan products or doesn't think about certain things or doesn't get incentivized or bonus for certain things that might make really good sense for you. So, Chad, you and I are an EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. One of the benefits of it is when we're making a big decision, we have a group of peers to bounce it off and get other opinions. I'd like to say any financing you take for your business is a big decision, and it's pretty smart to get a couple different opinions until you get comfortable with the way that you want to go. Doesn't mean you don't have to pay us. We'll give you our opinion for free.
That's right.
We give away a lot of free advice. It's okay. But you don't have to. That's kind of the beauty of it.
I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah. So no, I And I can vouch for that honestly, because I reached out to one of your people following her and explained the situation, what I was looking at doing, and he did that very thing. He recommended me to the product I was looking at and said, "That's the right one for you, but come back next time." And I absolutely will.
Classic example, the woman I told you about earlier with the $325,000 SBA loan. I told her, go take that money. Like, there's no reason to start again. If you're not going to put a lien on your house, go take that money, sign the documents, and get going. Quit wasting your time.
So you say it's a force multiplier, and I would say that we run into that a lot of times with people I coach or with or ourselves, where we're trying to decide, okay, I don't want to hire this person until I can afford them, but I need to hire this person so I can afford them. And I think sometimes that's, when you're looking at your checking account or your bank balance and stuff like that, but you're not able, I think debt allows you to look further down the road to give it a payoff time. And that's one of the things that we did. We invested and then it paid off quicker than we thought. I guess we hit the high side of the middle ground that you were speaking of in our
that is exactly right. And so, again, you have to decide to do it. So let's say, hypothetically, you believe that you need 3 salespeople to really, let's take that example back. You need salespeople to grow your business. And your decision is, do you hire 1 through cash flow? Or do you hire 3 and take on an SBA loan to give you some buffer in the process, knowing well that you're likely going to fire 1.5 of them in the first 90 days?
That's true.
Okay. And which one are you better off of?
Yeah.
And that's a contrast and an option we give people to think about sometimes.
Yeah, that opportunity time lost of being able to hire redundancy or particularly investing in a marketing program. And I think sometimes when you do it out of cash flow, you're a little quicker to, probably more susceptible to a bad decision when you're hiring out of cash flow, because you're enforced to sit down and sign a piece of paper that says, I believe in this idea. You can just do it and kind of see what happens. At least I found that.
Or you eat ramen noodles in the process of doing it. Or you create some stress in your organization because cash flow is going to be so tight for a while. That when I've lived through it many years. So when cash flow is really tight and you're stressed in payroll, you're probably not making good decisions.
And I think the people around you can sense it too, which builds.
They feel the pressure. Correct.
What advice do you give people when they're talking about looking at going into debt? Is it, hey, make sure you get your books cleaned up, or have some books, or
I think that is right. But the first question is, what's your plan? What are you going to do with this money, and how's it going to help you grow, and what's your plan to make money from it? So don't take on debt just for the sake of taking on debt. Unless it's a line of credit, that's a different thing, which is like an insurance policy. But a lot of people took on these EIDL loans the last 6-9 months through COVID. And a lot of people are sitting on a lot of cash in their bank accounts that they don't think is costing them anything, but it is, because even though payments aren't due yet, interest is accruing.
Sure.
And my pushback on them is, make a plan for your money or give it back.
Yeah, for sure. The interest and plus these loans are big, so interest adds up fast.
It adds up fast, and they don't think about that because they're not paying it now, but it's accruing.
It's not unlike the student loans.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. Best way to learn more about you, obviously, a good way to go about it is to get the book, The Growth Dilemma.
Growth Dilemma, or just check us out at multifunding.com, or I write a daily blog post at amisites.com. So if you ever want, you can just go in there and log on for it. It's like a 1-minute read to start your day.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate it. I'll get a link on all those and put it in our podcast write-up, and we'll see where we are. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Chad. Will you be at GLC in a couple of weeks?
I would do, let's see, GLC. That's in DC. I'm planning on coming to it. I'm trying to get my stuff set up for it. But
awesome. Hope to see you there.
I'll seek you out. You're a little easier to find than I am.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
Pointing crowds around you and stuff.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, if you ever get to one of Amit's talks, you should see him. He just throws money everywhere. It's amazing.
Talk to you soon, Chad. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Get the Intel. We'll see you next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.